Welcome back, Attack! Let's take a look at our top 10 MMORPGs for 2014, and we're gonna have some bias for games that came out more recently, say in the year 2014, but that does not exclude games that are older and are still up to date, and we still are playing them and having fun. So without further ado, let's get started at number 10. Swordsman Online definitely takes the RPG aspect seriously in the name MMORPG. MMORPGs are supposed to focus on a story that's supposed to intertwine with a massive amount of people. Sadly, only coming in at number 10 for this reason is the fact that it doesn't really have that many MMO mechanics to it. Sure, you are playing in an openish world with a bunch of other people, but you don't truly interact with people, and it takes a really long time to actually get into the PvP of the game, which Swordsman Online pretty much just shouted out PvP. Sadly, the game isn't quite as polished as it could be, and of course, you know, it's still very new, and that's why it's also on this list, because it is one of the newer additions to the Wuxia family of MMOs, but still, I think it's one of the better ones, and you should definitely give it a shot. And at number 9, we have a totally new game. I'm so excited to see this on this list and play it, is Trove. Think Minecraft meets World of Warcraft, maybe Terra. It's an MMORPG, don't get me wrong. It is an MMO. It's a big open world with lots of instances, areas, but it's also Minecraft styled. It's a voxel-based action game where you're gonna be slaying bosses, going through dungeons, and creating castles, creating all sorts of different content that you can share with the community and do all sorts of stuff. And Trove, I really feel, nails down MMORPG, and sure, there really isn't too much RPG aspects, at least in the line of story. There's not too much story. It's all kind of hidden, Dark Soulsian. Yeah, it's really community-based, let's be honest. They do have the RPG features, leveling up, stats, different kind of items, very Borderlands-esque, and the MMO aspect is truly there. You will be doing nothing but playing with other people and having fun. Very open world, very quick to get into parties, play with other people, and overall, it's just a fun game. And at number 8, we have Firefall. This is a personal favorite of mine. I had a lot of fun playing this from levels 1 to 20. The only downside is that the game gets a little bit repetitive, but at the same time, a lot of those repetitive features actually make it pretty cool just to jump on, have fun with your friends. It's very open world. This is very similar to Trove or Guild Wars 2, where you can just do these dynamic events all around the world, just kind of have fun. And different from the rest on the list is this game actually uses guns as a mechanic. No, even though there is a shooting mechanic, it is still very much an MMORPG. The game heavily has RPG elements, not just with stats, different items, Borderlands-esque. It's actually, you know, very story-based with instances. You actually have cutscenes, different things like that. And the quest, yeah, sometimes they can be a little bit boring, but they still give an insight into a unique world that you can roleplay in. And yes, it is an open world game. There is lots to do, lots of people having fun, jumping around, using jetpacks. It is an MMO that you should certainly try at least once. And coming in at number 7, we have Ion. This is a game that I was not particularly fond of when it first came out because I had a very strange subscription plan, but now that it's free to play, it's actually gotten a lot of updates that I think are really attractive, especially housing, and the game just looks really gorgeous. It might potentially be the best looking free to play game out there. Absolutely fantastically gorgeous. It uses a really interesting high fantasy art style that is really realistic, but at the same time is just completely out there, completely colorful. And if anything, yeah, the combat is standstill, but at the same time, you know, special effects look gorgeous, and overall I just can't praise this game enough for having a really tasteful and artistic design in its world design overall. So if you want a world that you could probably immerse yourself into that's still crazy corny and out there, out of this world, definitely check out Ion. Next up on our list, we have DC Universe. Now, this game actually completely blew me away when I first played it. DC Universe, even though this is actually an older game and you can play it on PS3, you can play it on PS4, it's still freaking awesome. It's physics, it's action, unparalleled. The character creator is actually really cool, and I'll admit it, it's a little bit silly. It does use comic book heroes, Joker, Batman, stuff like that, Superman, but then again, you also can customize and utilize different powers too. You can totally make your own hero, and it's really a ton of fun. Sure, flying might be your thing. Personally, I like running extremely fast, bouncing off walls and doing all that crazy stuff. But yeah, absolutely, I'm going to praise this game for its acrobatic abilities and what they do with the combat system. It's, I think, nearly unparalleled. I think more games really need a system very similar to this, and I'm not so sure about the end game or the rating or anything, but I know that if you just want a game to try and play with potentially limited amount of time, this is the game that's going to give you the biggest impact out of any other. Alright guys, at number 5 we have Neverwinter. Now Neverwinter kind of came out of nowhere. We already had a Dungeons & Dragons MMO and it wasn't bad at all. I can't even say it's dated. You could probably go and still have fun on it and it would be on this list if Neverwinter wasn't so unique and fun. Neverwinter is an MMORPG, but really it kind of plays kind of like an action RPG. It's more like Dragon Nest or Vindictus, where you go with parties into instanced dungeons. There is open world cities and stuff that you can play with other people, have fun little jokes / dance, stuff like that. It's still Dungeons & Dragons. You can still role play, have fun like that. But Neverwinter really is all about the hardcore dungeons raiding. You can even make your own dungeons, very much in the inspiration of Dungeon Masters, stuff like that. So Neverwinter is crazy fun. There's really unique mechanics between each of the classes, and honestly, its art style is a bit comical, but I think it's going to make it a little bit timeless. So if you're looking for a game to push you mechanically, especially maybe one that has PvP, check out Neverwinter. Now, if you're looking for a game that's a little bit more similar to something that you're used to, maybe like World of Warcraft per se, then you want to play Rift, which is coming in at number 4. Rift is a good game, absolutely. It doesn't take too many risks, but ever since it has gone free to play, it has expanded its horizons. It has done more and more and has gotten updates that the community has been thriving on. The people that play Rift play it for its certain specific reasons, and these reasons have only become more dramatic ever since it's gone free to play. They've really been changing the game, so if you played it back in the subscription-based days, a lot has changed, and if you haven't played yet, it's definitely worth a shot. Sure, it is very, very similar to World of Warcraft, but at the same time, Rift is Rift. You have all these cool dynamic events. Yeah, you do have the same usual quests at the same time, but for every reason that it makes it similar to World of Warcraft, they have another reason to make it different and make it its own. So overall, there's just a lot of content in Rift. Some of it's not always new, but it doesn't mean it's bad. Alright, we're getting into the big 3. Now let's talk about Terra. Terra is a game that has been on a lot of top 10 lists because it's really different. It really changed the entire face of the genre. Action combat, gorgeous visuals, and really aggressive AI. Whenever you're playing with friends, PvP, PvE, whatever you're doing, you're having a blast because of the mechanical differences that are found in Terra and not in older MMOs. But even I have to admit that the game is extremely grindy early on, and generally the overall aesthetic is a little bit random to me. But I'm sure if you can get past the early levels of Terra, you're gonna find the end game, you're gonna find the PvP, you're gonna find the rest of the world an amazing place to be. Coming in at number 2, we have Star Wars: The Old Republic. This game is also another game very similar to World of Warcraft in a million of its mechanics and how it looks. But what makes this game so good is that since it's gone free to play, it's gotten a ton of updates such as the Space Fighter mode, and it still has all the arenas, and it still is probably one of the best PvE games out there with voice acting, great storytelling, and it's still this rich Star Wars universe that we all love and that we all know. So if you're looking for a free to play game that has a ton of depth and is still very comfortable for players of World of Warcraft or other less mechanical games, lots of people are playing it. It's still a populated game, so jump on and have fun. And at number 1, we're gonna just jump right into it. Let's talk about ArcheAge. ArcheAge is in open beta as of the upload of this video, and it is a fantastic game. It's very linear in the very beginning of the game, but don't get me wrong, it still has a huge sandbox. You'll be crafting things like houses, farms. You're gonna be doing PvP, lots of PvP from open world and doing all this crazy stuff with factions. And of course, you're gonna have siege items. There's gonna be piratery. You can make ships and fight each other. And yeah, at the same time, the beginning of the game is very RPG based. There's actually a really rich story to go with ArcheAge, and it seems pretty, I would say, enthralling, honestly. It's not that bad. There is still the normal quests that you might usually have, like in World of Warcraft, where, you know, fetch this, fetch that, kill this, kill that. But at the same time, there's a lot of quests that are a little bit interesting because of the mechanics of ArcheAge, where you will be sailing, where you will be climbing, where you will be flying. You'll be doing a lot more, and there is probably no other free-to-play game that lets you do as much as you can in ArcheAge, period. But yeah, its game feel probably isn't as visceral as Terra, but still, the amount of data that's in this game, the amount of stuff that you are going to be doing and the adventures that you're going to be had, it's just unparalleled. ArcheAge is number 1 for a reason. Please go try it out as soon as you can. So, Attack, please tell me, what do you think of our list? What would you have on this top 10 list? We did want to focus on MMORPGs, so MMOFPSs or other things, niche titles like that, they're not going to be on this list, so we're sorry, but you can look forward to other lists in the future. Soon we got Mac MMOs to play. And hey, who knows, we might do racing top 10s, we might do board game top 10s if they're MMO board, I don't know. We're gonna be doing lots of top 10s of games that you guys wanna see. We're gonna be sharing the knowledge, sharing the love, and hopefully you guys are all gonna enjoy these games. And if you see a game that you haven't played yet, go and try it right now. I definitely suggest you try out our number 1 ArcheAge. I absolutely love that game and I think it has a ton of potential. Please, and Trove as soon as it becomes open beta. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm Skyline Shore with Attack Gaming. Expect more soon, and I'll see you again.